Hey, hey, welcome to the Psy Tai Podcast with your Psy Tai. Psy Tai, let's cue the intro real quick. Bang, bang, bang. Hey, thank y'all for coming on through. Everything is just getting started wonderfully. Today is, what is today? I think it's Wednesday. All the team today is uploading. King Guys, shouts to King Guys. He just uploaded a video. Try out to True Life. He live right now. But I'm still gonna go live because I don't have that much time to always to go live. So I'll take advantage of the opportunity. So hopefully y'all having a wonderful morning, evening, night, midnight special, whatever time is coming at y'all. Enjoy this energy, take part in this atmosphere, and then we can start the conversation. This is a place where we can bind our mind with our heart, see what our gut mind is saying, connect all those three circles, and let whatever come out like magic. And you know that's what we've been doing, creating a lot of magic on this channel. Open up the Discord and post a link to the Discord in there, just in case somebody wants to jump in while I'm tying. Before everybody was just always do. I titled this reason, be, I've reason because of a lot of things that's been popping up in the psychedelic space and growing, as people will call, spiritually, and the experience that I had. And just for the past 2 weeks, a lot of things been adding up in my psyche, and the reason that we're gonna talk about in ways that they haven't been before. And it's so obvious, it's so cliche that it's so closer to the truth for me. Cliches are always close to the, keep it simple, keep it plain, and not jazzed up, and that's what's gonna jazz up and create a lot of new things to go on from there. Something that's pure and simple. That's what it is, pure and simple. Because the a lot goes on for people that have never had a psychedelic experience, for those that do take psychedelics, and us as human beings, as flesh, AI bodies here on earth, walking around flesh and blood. It's a lot it's a lot that we already are, and it's things that we already doing without noticing it. And when the psychology mixed with the psychedelics, and when it mixed with the science and the storytelling told beyond the ages, and the evolution and the future technology, it's a lot of cool things that's been adding up. I was watching Vsauce. He was talking about the future of reasoning, and that was giving me some key. It was Flight Boss. He was talking about people thinking that God should be a disembodied mind, and like seeing outrageousness of that and stuff like that. So what is the mind? What is reason? Why do we use words? What is a reason? Why do we talk? What happens when we're talking or tying anything to anybody? Like, what are we actually doing? I'm not here to supply the answers, but I'm here to just tie. Tie with anybody that want to tag along, and just got some things on. So let's get it out. Let's get it out. So I was thinking, reason. A LSD experience I had before, and this was going along with meditation practices and what I was on at the time, and still on. But I had the vibe where I wasn't totally into space, like into another zone, but I was here watching my friend play the game, and I was like, words. What are words? What are these words that I want to use, that I choose to use? I was in a space in back of that, and that was generating it. And for a lot, and so I was like, wow, I'm just going to sit back and not actually use the words, and just sit with these thoughts, sit with my mind, and just let it play like that without putting it into words, thinking in pictures, thinking in form of pictures and environments, and it just playing out itself without that voice that you hear me calculating things popping up. And for most people, that's their whole life, just hearing, just playing out the voice, and never hearing that second voice that's talking, that announcing what to say or setting the stage of what to say. Most folks that get older, they start saying, this voice starts playing out more, and you start seeing them being relaxed, or talk about how they felt when they was a little kid, or when they was in their 20s and their 30s, or a teenager, how it seemed like it was a whole different mind going on. What are our reasons for things? So I brought up that experience because it was the first time I experienced talking as being something that is a part of the human experience, and reason as a part of the human experience, and not the full totality of what's going on. Like say, say you're trying to convince somebody to do something. So, or convince somebody to go out and do something with you, tag along. So then they say, "Oh, I don't want to. I really don't feel like it." So then automatically you start coming up with more reasons, more ideas for why they should, like offering different options. You start talking about more things about why the store is awesome by saying, hey, they got chips, they got soda, or if you had a restaurant, I know you like the seafood, but they got steak too. And you start just coming up. But these not things that came to your forefront in the beginning. So a lot of things that we actually say out of our mouths is for social connectivity, to connect on a social path in a social environment. And a lot of the reasons that we run off of is to come together, like tie on evolution. In order to survive back in the past, we had to learn how to fight together or hunt together, or like to get the food and bring it all together, or like villages, when villages started popping up, the hunter gatherers and stuff like that. It was like-minded people coming together that had reasons to be together. Like the way they communicated was probably a little similar, or like I said, the food, oh, we need to eat, so we have a reason to not kill each other, or we have a reason to look out for each other, or we have a reason to form this idea of a team. So I was tying and I was saying to myself how I was seeing for myself how throughout time in our DNA, this scripted reason for things always pops up. And it was for us to survive, for us to survive on Earth. But what are these? Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Go on. But what are these reasons, and why do some people choose to hold on so true to these things, as if you was to give up on these reasons you would die, or it will be the end of the world. And this is going back to what I was saying about evolution and everything and us surviving. So now we have religion. We have different religions all throughout the world that have gave people reasons to why things is going on around them. Now another thing I wanted to add was that reasons could be also only what we have analyzed about a previous situation. Like I said, something that helped us survive, something that helped us, that was, that when we was in that situation, it felt good, it was fruitful enough to supply enough situation for the next experience to happen, and then to be joyful enough to want to experience, and then go on to the next and go on to the next. That's how a lot of religions, like, hey, we can't do this, or we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do that, and we shouldn't do this. Then reasons popped up, and then they was embedded, and people agreed on them. And even with mysterious things, when mysterious things will happen, people will come up with a reason for why it happened. And like, and that's why we got all the different Bibles that's around the world, all the different religious books, and even the stories that we tell each other. That's how far it goes. That's how far logic is. That's how far logic is. Because that's the game that's being played for survival, is logic. If this, then this. If that, then this. When now is when the psychedelic space, people that take psychedelics, I was tying on how in my mind about how they start to get loose in the world, and how especially if they in the youth, or it don't really matter your age, when you start coming around other people, your reasons for doing things shape up. You have different ideas about life, about why you even do the things that you're doing. And that is an opportunity that's not always offered in the human experience, so far without attributing it to God or attributing it to something so into something else. So what I'm getting to, sorry, this threw me off. What I'm getting to is that religion, I mean, is our reasons for doing things. I'm sorry, my mind is all over the place. Let me take a little smoke real quick. As usual. Thanks for coming on through. Get a little tongue tied. But yeah, let me share this page too. Is that our reasons for doing things switch up when you get into psychedelics, and that's the top bit that I want to throw in as well. And it starts showing off different, and that's why a lot of people, hey Dwayne, and that's why a lot of people, thanks for coming through, and that's why a lot of people, once you get into psychedelics, it's hard to relate to different people because your reasons for things change, and a lot of people, their reasons don't change for things. Some people are ways from when they was a child, when they was a teenager, and if especially they got successful and so had good parents and stuff like that, is they just continue that throughout the rest of their life. And even pain and trauma won't allow you to really reorganize things in your brain. You just say, hey, this you fought for a lot of things. A lot of people that's traumatized, that grew up in the hood, that grew up being touched when they was younger, sexual abuse and stuff like that. So your reasons for why you have this certain attitude and vibe about life is what you have. It seems like it's all that you have. The fire is all that your fire has in order to keep going. And sometimes it's some points in your life where you want to lighten up and stuff like that. But it's like you don't have a reason to lighten up because look at all the stuff that's in your head. Look at life. It's a mind game. The way that the mind is working, the way that the mind comes up with reasons to do. And then when we're so used to calling that I, to calling that part of ourselves everything. Like say you on stage and you acting in a movie and then you get lost in the role of that one character. Forgetting and start crying and then like really go into probably commit suicide or something like that. Because the emotions of that character and the events that it was going through, it was like, hey, this is all that there is. This is, and those emotions and reasons are real. They're alive and they control people. They're the essence, they're the forces, the anger. You see, um, growing up, you probably heard like jealousy. Jealousy is the green monster, or anger. Anger is like usually red and stuff like that, and come and like they got different, the different essences, different spirits that represent different energies. Like those are all different, those are all energies and vibrations that we tap into. And when you in it, all the like say you about to kill, let's say you about to kill somebody, they say that when you're real angry at the point of the height of adrenaline, you can, or I forget exactly how it is, but it's easy to kill somebody when your adrenaline is up. Like when you're in a certain state of mind, all the reasons line up for why you should do something to hurt somebody in general. It pops up all the time to even curse somebody out, let something off on the fly, let somebody know how you really feeling all this pain. Like, man, I ain't gonna let my pain still stay bottled up. I'm gonna let it out right now. And all the reasons pop up. The music, song you was just listening to. Thinking about how your mom talk to people. Thinking about how your dad's talk to people. How your boss talk to people. Like, oh yeah, this is how boss is doing it. And just building up all these reasons and just going off at it. But let alone most people don't realize what's actually making them talk, What's making them talk? What is the reason for why they doing what they're doing? And it's cool. Most time I don't is I don't go that deep into it because it's cool. It's all right because that's I was trying to save it to the end. It's hard for me to tell stories in chronological order, and that's what mostly be having me tongue tied. I'm trying to stick to a point and then go to that point and go to that point and go to that point because that's the reason. That's how I've been trained in school. You put your thesis out there, and then you got your A, B, C points about the thesis, and then you break that down. Break down point A, and you can make paragraphs about point A, and you got B, and you got one B, one C, one all of that. It's trained, but that's just the reason. That's just another reason. That's the program that I'm tying about. It's always at work, and then you hear people that's not so up to date with literature, and they say, "Oh, you're illiterate. You don't know anything just because you don't know the structure." And that's what causes division and separation, and division and separation that we see all the time. That we see all the time happening on Earth, in the littlest, tiniest of situations, all the way to the biggest situations where people actually go out in war. And whether it's a gang war or a country at war or a secret war that's going on for about 10 years through the media or through you know how it goes. You know how it goes. And even in your own house and with your own relationships that's going on. The reasons that we have for why we choose to do things can always be at work. And for me, magic, psilocybin mushrooms and sitting with my taking the time with myself is really allowing me to see has the past couple years been allowing me to see what gears is running in my own person, in this person of Tai or Santai, Steph, whatever you want to call me. Because atoning and staying in one thing for a long time makes a lot of people groggy. I was just talking to my mom earlier, and she was literally starting to cry because she was saying how she's tired of being stuck in the same position in life, and then watching other people have fun on TV or going out, being on game shows. This her words, or just going out having fun. She said she tired of consuming. Like she want to go out and actually do things. She want to create things. She want to do more stuff, things with her time. So this is an awaken, what people will call an awakening moment. To seeing what's going on around you, seeing the juices flowing inside of yourself, and then and then at that point where it seemed like you can't do nothing with it because all the reasons that's going on in your mind already that you're used to that helped you survive and get to this point. And that can come in any forms from media to the type of conversations that you have to get you through the conversation, to get you through the day. Is it like mostly based around gossip? Is it based around talking about somebody else in a negative way or talking about yourself in a negative way? Or is it about building up yourself in a positive way? Is it about healing yourself with your actual words? Because reasons, it's a reason. It's a reason for the season. So whatever season you win is the reason that things is popping up. Oh, that was something that I actually wanted to look up. Reason. Uh, yeah, reason means to consider, to think, understand, and form judgments by a process of logic, to find an answer to a problem by considering various possible, persuade someone with rational. I want to see the. All right, from the old French. Let me look this up for y'all too. Bang bang. From old French raison, raisonner verb from a variant Latin. I'm just skip that. It just means consider. Consider. So while all this reasoning, all we doing is considering. Also means to challenge. Right there. To challenge. Speak, discuss, argue, address, speak to. Discourse. The Discord. Join the Discord if y'all want. Understanding motive cause. This is what most people life is all based off of. What we can reason. And that's what life is in general. What we can reason. Why that's why I'm just tying. I'm just talking. But that's why I call it just tying. So you can never take me too serious. But yet take me serious. Or at least listen. Or at least listen. Just take a Linden ear, like, uh-huh. Because that's what changed. That's what's going to change the future of us in the already, because we already doing it, is building up on each other ideas, building up on these reasonings, because that's what creates reality. The structure of reality of what we see is always based off of our reasoning, and that's why with the psychedelic folks, we go into these spaces beyond logic where things don't make sense because it's not supposed to make sense. It's not supposed to be constructing anything. It's that looseness, that etherealness, um, that creates everything. It's the like the plane of causes, causation, and the plane of effects. I'm trying to remember the alchemical terms. But yeah, yeah. And the effects, that's what's happening up there. So things that's happening over there is gonna affect things that's happening here. And don't get confused in my wording either, because that's still reason. I'm just and that's what makes people not listen to people. My mom was telling earlier, it's one of her friends that when people come around, they don't really like give him a listening ear, give him a second shot, or try to even listen what he have to say, because they think that he's crazy. But I've been hanging out with him for about 5 years. Like before I moved to Philly, he a cool dude. Everything he said, he was just tying, letting out his feelings, letting out his emotions. And it wasn't always correlating to the logic of the situation around him. And that's when people get all rowdy. Like I said, survival. A lot of us tap into this, but then they say, people get taken advantage of. He said, "Oh, I don't want people to take advantage of me. Oh, people been taking advantage of me all my life. Never again. Fuck people. People are just stupid. Like I can't fuck with people in that vibe." I was in that vibe for years, years. I'm a metalhead to the death. Slipknot, if y'all know the lyrics, it was, man, yeah, yeah. So I know exactly the feeling. I know exactly the experience of being totally vibing straight in that. And every reason has to exist. So all of the personality is still going to exist. I'm not pitting one reason against the other, but I'm just saying, and being more peaceful with yourself and being more balanced, because you gotta have the peaceful and you gotta have, and we still here with reason, and that's something that the psychedelic experience has showed me too, and having repeated psychedelic experiences. Because you would say, man, you see the hippies in the past, and people say, I don't want to mess with psychedelics because I'm gonna not care about my work and my job, or I'm gonna start not caring about the things that have structured my life in school and the things that have built me up. And that's really from the heart. It's really from the heart. I had somebody ask me this before, a strong business woman, that how come I see people that take psychedelics and mushrooms, they start not caring about stuff, and they start not like making money, or they like real like they don't really care enough to really build a foundation for themselves. But that's just the people that they seen that's at that stage of life that's still finding out that balance if they choose to keep up in that path. Whereas, like, what is the reason for all of this? What is the reason for money? What is the reason for you hear capitalism, or um to build up any wealth for yourself, period. Any wealth or any security, self confidence for yourself, period. You see these kind of folks, and I was getting into that too. I lived out that life for a couple months too, and it brought out a bunch of different advantages that was opposite to what I was getting from the personality that I was trying to play out before. And every like everything that we always try to act out is a play based off the reasons in our head that we tell ourselves. Like say you creating a character. Like say you wanted that character to really emote on the screen. Like you want that tear to start dripping out. You start thinking of reasons why. feeling the reasons why to do that. Even if you know it's just a play and all those stuff just coming in your head, you probably start bringing stuff from your life that have nothing to do with the play that hurt you, and you bring it out in there. It's a reason. You ever get mad? You ever catch yourself about to be so disappointed in a situation, oh, so disgusted with a situation, and you hear all those reasons pop up as to why you should start flipping out, why you should start screaming. Like, I need to scream. It fucked up. It's mad. I'm looking right the hell out. What you mean? What you mean? Like that, and it's a point that I noticed where you could go that way or that way, and it's like it's a this the wildness when we say it's a script that's handed to you, but it's a choice that's handed to you where you can see observe the situation because that's what we are, observers. And that's what I'm getting into these reasons and not getting so lost in the reasons, getting lost in people reasonings for things, and even at the biggest scale your own reasoning for things. Don't be scared to come up with a new reason in that situation, in that moment. But the way, and that's why I love that we had the Psy Tai Podcast. We got true life stories over doing his podcast, King Guys, where we're literally just spouting out ideas without too much logic, but it's based off of our experiences. But not trying to use the logic because we can use logic that we was taught. We can talk about this in a total Christian aspect. I know I can. But I had different experiences that couldn't really be described through just that form of logic and reasoning. And if I was just existing through that logic and reasoning alone, I wouldn't have the experiences that I have now. I can't wait till we all can meet up. Oh, like I said, can't wait. That's another downer. Like I said, I catch up on a lot of stuff. But it's gonna be awesome when we all meet up. When we all meet up together. And what I meant by having all of us talking and tying about these ideas is that it's different perspectives going on. It's different reasonings. We only had the perspective that we have because of the way we grew up. And all of us grew up differently. We grew up with a different name. We grew up with different parents. We grew up watching different TV shows, different friends, different school times. All of that has has an effect. So us being able to tie things out and having everybody being able to have the opportunity to say something, well, it's really going to change the future. It's really already changing what's how we're going to operate in the future instead of it being how we've been existing as human beings saying, "Hey, these group of people are very smart. These are the smartest of the land. Let them come up with the laws." Like Vsauce was pointing out how the democratic system started out in the first place. It started out through a lottery where people was just taken randomly and then said, "Hey, we're going to vote on these laws. How are we going to do these things?" And that's how we vote on people going to jail, death penalty all the time. A random jury, and they pick them out and they say they hear the story, they get briefed on the situation, and then they say, "Hey, this guy's guilty or not guilty." And that's why a lot of things felt fishy in the past when the dark skinned people had fully white skinned jewelry as putting them in jail and or like not put them in jail but deciding their life. So then the other reasons had to pop up and say, "Hey, that's not right. That's not cool. We see what's going on." Because it's always manipulators behind the scenes at different levels, at so many different levels. So us having the opportunity to think for ourselves, it can be a scary thing. It can be a scary thing because of the structure of what's around us. Because we have everything to do with what's going on around us. We try not to take responsibility for it, but that's a reason that makes most people depressed. Shout outs to Shout outs to my life. Shout outs to our lives. Shout outs to our lives, man. And shout outs to True. Cause and I was tying on something he said before on is most people depressed because of not taking the reins to actually do something. To actually do something. Like, do most people get depressed when they decide to not do something that they know that they should be doing? And that's what I think in my life. I conquered a lot of fears. And every time I conquered a fear, right in line with that was a depression. Was the feeling of depression? Because with a feeling of depression come a world of thoughts that you exist in, and that's why I love feelings. Because how you feeling really holds true to where you are. Like you can come up with a lot of different reasons to cover up or to describe a feeling. Like you can describe a sad feeling as feeling good, or you can describe a sad feeling as what it is, sad. And then once you stop feeling sad, and then all the thoughts go through it, oh, that person did die. I did feel a heartbreak because we did have a lot of good times together. Remember when we was out walking down the park? Woo! Woo! But now I'm feeling that whoo moment, and I allow myself to feel that. Now I can go and probably create an art piece at that park. Or now when I'm at that park, I'm gonna do a skate trick for them. Or I'm gonna bring my family to that park, or my best friend, my spouse, anybody to that park side of the park, and just relive out those emotions. Just or go in that same feeling. The feeling never died. The feeling never died. It's just looking for new characters to play out the story. So if you let that feeling die, what's left but depression? Thinking about all the times and how things used to be. And when you get into psychedelics, they be showing you how time is not relevant. You create the time by moving into those time of a different time of thoughts and feelings and ideas. And it's a wonderful feeling. And it's magical. It's really magical. And that's why I believe they call and magic mushrooms, because you don't believe it's going that feeling of that opportunity of being able to go into how you are actually feeling, how you're actually just feeling, and then letting the thoughts, the reason be secondary, third dairy, fifth dairy. And like you say, I'm just saying fifth dairy. It don't. What is the reason for me to try to like? It's there is no reason because you get the feeling. The feeling is the art. And life, like they say, and life, as they say, imitates art. So when you get into that, when I'm getting into that with the mushrooms, and having that wonderful opportunity, you don't, I don't, you don't believe it. It's like a feeling. I know for a lot of people, you don't believe it, and that's why all the reasons of judgments come up against magic mushroom. Oh, that's that white boy drug, or oh, it ain't the time right now. I'm doing it next week. I see you do it next week or next month. But we do be moving a lot. A lot of people got jobs and stuff like that. But you never really know. All of everything is me. I'm just I have a reason for comforting people because everything is okay. So I'm going to say, "Oh, it's all right. Yeah, got this going on, got that going on." And that's awesome. That's the play. But it's another thing to say, "Hey, the time is once you get into that experience, you start seeing. It's like you just sitting there thinking, and like I'll point the story. You're sitting there thinking, and then you just start thinking something else. A story will start playing out. If you let the train play out, you let it go on a higher dose, you have no choice. Like you diving into the water, you got no choice but to start learning how to swim. As to put into the correlation of what the story is right now, you have no choice but to to feel how you feel. And then the thoughts, you either scared of them or you like, all right, I see them. Let's do the do. Let's breathe. Let's let the analyzation take place over there because it's not all that there is. Literally experiencing that that is not all of life. But it is all of life, you know? But it's not. But you know that experience is unbelievable experience. And then you come back and you sometimes trying to convince yourself. But convince yourself of what just happened. But then you start getting into different situations and you'll start seeing that you was actually doing some work, even if you got some stuff. And you start doing some work and you come up to a frightful situation, a situation with a loved one, a situation with a business, and you'll start thinking about it from I want to say higher state of mind, but what's higher and what's lower? But to communicate a higher state of mind, where you able to like say I fix computers a lot, and then say, "Oh man, I didn't see that." You just had the thought that you had to change that one to a five for some reason, and but you didn't just like you just was playing around, and just like man, that one kind of looked like a five. I tried everything else. And then this one thought come into your mind of something else that went topsy turvy and the person guessed it and it worked. And then that straight up motivation, like, or a five, boom, or you just pressed it by accident. Oh man, that was working. I would have never thought of that. And then you do some research and then find out all the logic behind people that knew that you should have put five in the first place because they just was worked down that thought path before, and it's just things just start working out magically. Or the classic example, you start not really looking for things anymore. You don't go into that panic. That panic creates the reality that you still don't have it. Cause why? It's funny. It's funny. It's funny, 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 funny. And most people that were born with the term schizophrenic put in their life, and they be like, man, it's people just fucking with my life. It's people fucking with me. Like, every time I'm about to get big, or every time I got this going on, it's just out to get me. Something out to get me. I know it's something out to get me. So that's a feeling. That's a feeling. But but in this space, it's like you start getting to things like, oh, it's something out helping me. Something out helping me. But it's so fast that you don't even think that far. You don't even think that far. Like, oh, whoo, here goes that gazelle. Or here it is. They're like, oh, where are my keys? And then as soon as you think that, you start thinking, oh, my keys. Oh, man, gotta go. I gotta do this. I gotta do this. Oh, I gotta need them. Why would I ever leave them anywhere? Something like, oh, where are my keys? If you get that point, whoosh, wash it out. All right, let me go get some water real quick. Let me go get some water real quick. And then right while you're going to go get the cup, whoosh, right there. Like that's how it happens. Hey, Goldie vibes, good vibes. When that bad feeling comes, it feels like I'm in a never-ending sea of nausea. Yeah, that's what comes up. Thanks for coming on too on pass. Wait, hold on two on pass. On because I be thinking coming on through. I'm like through where? Mm, but thanks for letting your presence known. Thanks for letting your presence known, and then retracting your message. I don't know why you just did that. But yeah, when we're in a never ending sea, it does feel like that. You look around. But once you start really, really focusing in on not that. Not that. Like literally not that. Like you either can focus on it or you can literally not. Try having a mantra that you say to yourself over and over again when them type of situations come up. Like, all right, I'm good. I'm good. I'm all right. What's the trip for? And all the reasons will start popping up because we're trained like that. We're bred to be like that. I change music now a lot, a lot. It could be a good song because I gotta pay for my Apple Music subscription again too. So the radio been popping back up. But sometimes I rather not ride with the radio music because my thoughts and my things going on in my mind is loud enough, is entertaining enough for me to keep on going. Because when a song be coming on talking about a breakup or talking about um not feeling good enough, and then it got all the poppy beat to it. I was going into it in the beginning of my journey. It's like, yeah. And then it would start relating, things start popping up in my life. And I'm like, oh, all right, that's cool. That is relating to this in my life. And this is what I'm really thinking about. But now, in the type mind that I'm in, I be saying, I don't feel like feeling like this right now. And not even in a way of running away from it. I was like, I don't feel like this right now. Let's cut that off. Like, I understand that analyzation that you're trying to get me to think about, use. And all right, it's all right. It's all good. Like, it's all good. And I just change the song. Like, I don't even say in a panic. That's just me creating a story. I don't hear this right now, but I only say it because sometimes other people listen to the song and they're like, oh, why you turn it? And I'm sorry, I just didn't want. I'm just over that right now. I know it's other songs, it's other vibrations to literally tune into. This is the easiest vibration to tune into. It's free. It's on the radio for free. All I gotta do is press the button. It pop up. It's a readily available emotion, a readily available world. The reasons that I feel um connected to it and everything. It has the pop beat, so you know how pop musicians structure the music so that it's catchy to a mass population as opposed to like underground music that only few people will vibe with that grew up in a certain kind of culture or a certain kind of environment and stuff like that. Pop music is made to relate to everybody. And that's good because that's how they're magicians. That's how they work their magic. They work on a big scale. But I see how they work with pain a lot. Pain and feeling like you in pain but still fighting the world. Fighting the world. And sometimes I don't want to feel like I'm fighting the world. I just want to fly and be like, oh, that's what's going on. And then other times when I'm fighting the world, hey, that's the time. But when you feel like you have the choice, make the choice. When you feel like you had the choice, make the choice. Or if you make the choice to do something, like that's why people like J. Cole and conscious rap music too. Because it's like, hey, I see that I'm doing this, but I still have the opportunity to do this. Or I know what I'm feeling like feels like I'm sinful. Oh, no. Feel like I'm sinful, but I'm just, that's the way I was bred and stuff like that. I'm thinking of J. Cole music, stuff like that. You know, he still try to put Christianity and stuff in his music. And that's why, that's his reason for using sin in the first place as a word to mean to talk about things that people feel restricted from doing that they really want to do, but it feels like they can't do it. Them to being themselves feel like they living in sin. So it's like, oh, I'm sinful, and then that has all this other dark energy and stuff pop out and things that you get into that you probably would never did in the first place, or it was you because you always doing you. It's always your story. Hey, yo, Seth, just tapping in. Just that's your reason. Just tapping in. I'm just tapping in, bro. I'm just tying on reasons. Reasons that we even try to come off as cool. That's why you see me call myself a fool all the time. And you see a lot of moments in our life when we say that we changed up or we changed up our personality. It was things that radicalized us and stuff like that. It's because it was something that we really saw was cool, and it was a lot of reasons. And then yeah, and we keep it going. Like I was thinking, the reason why I like stand up is so embedded. It's so I love stand up. I go to stand up when I need to feel that relief sometimes. When I'm not in that zone where I'm doing it with my own waving of the hand of the wand and stuff like that. All right, let me turn on something. I like to turn on stand up comedy. And it came up yesterday. I was telling my mom something that was a little bothered me, and she said, "Turn up some stand up comedy or something." I was like, "Wait, that's what I already do." And then I was remembering that she was going to the Laugh House and live comedy shows when I was younger, and that's how she did it. So me thinking, oh, this magical thing that this is what I discovered because YouTube and Netflix and stuff. Like, no, that's what was already in me in the beginning. Like that was my coping mechanism. And a lot of us have different coping mechanisms that's been embedded in us from our parents from our parents and stuff, all from just being alongside with them. And it come to a place in our mind in a higher level magicianship where you don't blame your parents for what you do, but you do at times see where things come up at, where things come up. But like I said in the moment, I just came up with it. It seems like I came up with it myself, and that is the play of the mind. That's is hard to describe, of the flesh, as y'all could say, Christianity, and the mind and the spirit, and what operates what desires what. But that's why I brought this up too, because of the reasons and not getting lost in other people and people reasonings and fighting and stuff like that. And why I even felt the reason to bring up Christianity a lot in a lot of the Psy Tai podcasts, and why I dealt with that a lot in my psychedelic journeys. But really, when I was in my psychedelic journeys, I didn't give a shit. I didn't care about none of that. None of the religious stuff. Never, I never dealt with any of the religious restrictions that most people deal with when it comes to psychedelics. My restrictions from the past came from different things, of literally like being scared of overdosing or not being able to relate to people around me, which still at the deep heart of it though comes from religious restrictions and growing up in a religious childhood. And that's why I love hearing people hype like how y'all heard me hype. But then I love when people try and keep on being honest and literally seeing for themselves even while they're talking, and not just going about, because you this everything every moment is an opening up opportunity. I was about to say it's a learning opportunity. That's such a cool. Seem like I'm in school. Every moment is a learn moment to learn. So yeah, it's just a moment to see, an opportunity to see. People say that you'll hear people you'll see for yourself if you take a higher doses of mushrooms how you can keep that mind state if you choose to. You can keep the ideas. You can keep that lucidity parts of it when you so called back, or when you come back here and stuff. But it comes with conquering a lot of fear, and comes at a price. But that's just the fear that people try to promote. Oh, it comes with a price. It's all these different things that's always going around. Fear, 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 fear. And when you can laugh at it and don't mean you understand it. Like that's another thing with reason. Reason by logic, you will say that by saying that you're everything, know everything. You are everything. Because logically that's what that means. So when people that's so based around logic, and even Christianity and stuff like that, they'll hear you say stuff like that and say, "Oh, he think he know everything because he's saying he's everything." That doesn't that's logically thinking. That's the reason at work. That's the monkey mind, as Terence McKenna, an evolutionary biologist, would call it. At work, just looking back at something and saying, "Hey, oh, that's why you think that." Or that's based off of my experience, that's why you think that. And then that's why when mystic men and mystic other things come, is blocked out. I remember talking to my old pastor back in the day, and him saying, "Yeah, I went back in the past And I talked to the mystic men and people that believed in Hinduism and all the other things. And they would say how they get inspiration from different places. But I just believe in the Bible. And if they inspiration don't come from the God and Jesus, then it's it's of the devil. And y'all know that road. So I was like, in the future world, as how's that the tie? How is that tying? Letting whatever come out, come on out. Hey, this person said something. Fuck that. And it's simple. And then you put them up with all these reasons and lose reasons and conclusions and stuff as to why you should say fuck that guy in the most polite way, in the most religious, Jewish mysticism way possible, Masonic logic way possible. And what I mean by that is like you know how it is, when it comes to Christianity and a lot of these religions that's under Masonic order without really knowing, like Masonic principles, stuff like that. But then go against the reasons of why Masons are alive and say, "Oh, I don't like Mason," when yet what they're actually reading is was made by Masons, and that's what I was saying before. A lot of my fire comes from with even tying about religious aspects and stuff like that. And there's been ways when it's been really on fire, and ways where I'm just observing it and just tying about it just so y'all can tie about it in your own world and stuff like that. It's because that's what I grew up in. It's what I grew up in, and I will talk about these ideas, and they will give me a bunch of reasons as to why I shouldn't believe in the things that was coming to my own mind, and that was being it had to be legitimized through things that was logically presented to them already in their life, and logically presented to things that happened in the Bible and church and stuff like that. I remember bringing up the Masons to them. I remember bringing up magic and stuff to them, and they tried to pray the devil out of me. But the devil is reason. Think tie on that. They said Lucifer is the light. Lucifer, Lucifer is the light. Atoms, photons, everything here is reason, is logic, and all that was devil versus the devil. If you want to put it like that, reason versus reason. Not what's behind the reason, not what's behind the reason, not what's just seeing what's around and logically coming to conclusions that's around, because that's what we all do. That's what we do all the time. We all, in the Christian term, the devil, Satan. We all adversaries to ourselves at time, and that's when it pop up. That's the Bible is not is a lot of things and about ourselves here on earth, what we are doing while we are here in this experience. And part of that is coming up with and building shit, coming up with words, coming up with beliefs, coming up with logics. If I didn't believe this was a bottle, it wouldn't be here right now. And they're gonna say the devil used to whisper. I used to be scared of the whispers in the wind. They used to say the devil whispers in the wind. The devil rules the powers of the air. So I used to think that the whispers and the thoughts and ideas that I was getting was from the devil, literally. But yet I was told to go into science because I had a real scientific brain, and that was going into things. So then I started getting, I went atheist. I said, "Yo, God just don't exist at all." I was getting into Richard Dawkins, who was a famous like British evolutionary biologist who was famous for going against Christianity and stuff like that. Or Bill Murray, who came up with that old movie Religiosity stuff. I was all about all of that stuff because I was like, "Yo, man, well, this is well, I'm gonna totally believe in my logic. I'm gonna totally believe in all these thoughts that y'all told me not to." And that brings up more division because it's still all about myself. It was never about the church. It was never about the people in there. It was always about myself. But I had to go and still on this magnificent journey of life to see that. And that's what I've seen that we're all on, to see that. Just to see and experience. What a wonderful time. Yeah, 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 yeah. Because people would think, well, I would think, and that's why I love seeing even people go against the grain. I love seeing people go against the grain. I like people going with the grain. I love seeing it all. Now the actions that I choose depends on the situation. And that's what made psychedelics so scary for the government back in the 60s, why it was made illegal by the US government, and then US other governments around the world follow suit, because if you don't have a reason for why you doing things, how can they track you? How can they track you? How can the system that's been going on for so long pers- persist, continue? How can it go on if you're thinking differently? Like that's the reality at whole. Talking like it's all about us talking at whole. But then if you just do what you do, that fighting all the time, just go and create. Go and create the new system. Get the people together, try the ideas out, and do the magic. And that's why I'm for a lot of the organizations that I see on Earth. But the organizations is they're gonna do what they do. I'm with the essence more, because the organizations are gonna come up and down, and some going to last longer than others, and it's going to be ones that has so much energy to it that didn't get the gain a lot of traction because they have the funds, or the one person didn't pay that right kind of attention to it to make it blow up to the millions. But then those projects be slowly still growing over time. Or then people over time, like how we look at what people was doing in the early 2000s, or the work that people were doing underground was still psychedelic studies throughout the 80s and 90s. But they couldn't talk about it because they get arrested. But because they kept it up, we are actually experiencing a lot of things that we're experiencing now without really knowing. And we think that is magic. It all is magic, but y'all know the reason train I'm going on now. Like it's magic, other people like, yes, I set that up so you could feel like that. Feel like yourself in those situations. And feel like you did it all on your own. Because that's how you're supposed to feel. But then everybody's work always has some things that make some people feel good, some people feel bad, or it's not going to benefit people as much as other people. So then you get the person that's like, oh man, that's not benefiting me like it was them. So then they get charged and they get all fired up, get all these ideas, bring their team, and then they go out to create more. And the cycle of infinite things always happens, always going on. Because I'm with the forces. I'm with the forces. Like it's always gonna be a cockiness and jealousy. Always going to be somebody that's cocky. It's going to be somebody that's jealous. Like they said, it's going to be light. It's going to be dark. It's going to be pride. It's going to be self destruction. And like as long as one exists, it's like in the universe it pops up so that it doesn't. It's not even aware that it exists unless it has the other opposite to know that it exists. Like, how do I know that I'm here if I don't know that that's over there? How do I know that I'm that this is hate if I don't know if love is not right there too? How do I know what love is if I don't know what hate is? So them essences know this. Like that's how they was born. Hey, you well? Hey, you well, Adamus? Was it always Adamus? Or was you well Adams? And not swear, but yeah. Thanks for coming on through, you well. I know essences and how they play out in reality. And but they always need to have their opposite to. You hear this in a lot of stories. A lot of stories you hear that's why things exist and persist and mention. And a reason for living, a reason for life, a reason for like you hear this all the time. What's your reason for living? You ever hear some people say, "I have no reason to live," or "This person has no reason," and that's how the realities play out. I was just watching this movie, the show Sake Sasuke Sasuke Sake. All right, yeah, I know because sound like Sasuke Sake. It was an awesome show, awesome show. I'm trying to see if I should say this for the next podcast. I'll probably tie it on it again in the next. But who knows? But yeah, but the that was an awesome show. It was based on actual historical fact, and it's a Netflix anime show with Flying Lotus. And you know, Flying Lotus, I shouted him out for years on this channel. I even have a couple videos with his beats on stuff like that. But it's an awesome show, and it was showing his reason for doing things. Because you know, samurais, they're all about reason and honor, and they'll do things for the clan. They'll put their whole life on the line for the sensei, and even I forget the Japanese word for it, but they'll even take their own life before a situation would happen because of the reasons that's going on in their mind, which translate to beliefs. I always had an A for Adam. Pre Adams family. Gotcha. Yeah, I just be reading, bro. Yeah, the samurai show, Usake, he had a choice because you know samurais, yeah, I'm saying they're real honorable. Tupuku. I think that's let's look it up. Cause imagine having so much honor and respect for what's going on. Yep, yeah, cause they stab it in their belly. There it is. Yep, that's the word. And so imagine having that much going on. So him being a samurai, he was black, and this historical fact, they didn't know where he came from. It was rumors like what country in Africa he came from, but people in Japan, they didn't see dark skinned people ever. So they when he was there, even though when the show somebody else popped up too, but when he was there, his stature, he was real strong. And they say he was there by a Jesuit priest as well. He was the slave, but in the movie they say servant of a Jesuit priest. and, and historical fact, it was a Jesuit that brought him there. And then one of the rulers, one of the future rulers of Japan, at that time he was a high military ranking officer that wound up uniting Japan, liked liked them and stuff like that. It was like, wow, this person is very interested, and brought him on the team and stuff like that. And it was wild. It was wild because people was really into what he can do. And it was a funny part of the spoiler scene where they were trying to scrub his skin. They thought it was ink. They said, "Did you ink yourself that color?" And that's how much they never. That's how much they how that's how it is when you never see a black person before. Like literally. So he was strong. He was going up in the ranks, and he was never really treated for how good skillful he was. He was real skillful. He was out on the front line. Sometimes they put him out there to die, and then he would prove worth like that. But then as he got older, he started making different decisions, and he started seeing how people was going to war for things that wasn't that wasn't necessary from his point of view. Like he saw the motivation as to why they was rowdied up, what would motivate them to go into battle, but he was saying more bloodshed brings about more bloodshed. Go there with war, it's going to bring about more wars, and it's going to bring about more generational wars There's always like that one little boy or girl that see the war, the horrors of war, and then they live out that trauma, and then become a revolutionary in the way that they try to go against war against the other people, as opposed to usually shows they got the best friend that said, no, we could try it this way and stuff like that. Said, no, we've been punished all of our lives. Like, anymore. You can't just sit laying down. And then that's how it goes. So as everything plays out, he played out the way of taking the choice of not doing it, but still being dragged in situations where he still had to cut some few heads off. The show reminded me greatly of the story of the Hattori Batosai and Rurouni Kenshin. Rurouni Kenshin was another awesome samurai movie that dealt with the mind of someone that was real skillful at something, as like cutting off people's heads at times of war, but when it wasn't, but growing up out of that and seeing a lot of lessons and having to kill probably loved ones, seeing loved ones die, stuff like that, and it could have went another way, but in that moment, heat of the battle, it was like what had to be done. Oh, bring this up. Whoop, there y'all go. There you well. He said he learned to put down the sword of the warrior and pick up one of the peacemaker. Yeah, pick up one of the peacemaker. He did all the way to the way that he was thinking, and he was still traumatized. He was still thinking of things that happened in the past, and that's what was extra motivating him to do things now. That's what there's some lot of peaceful people nowadays. They did some shit in the past. You don't just you not you, peace is not attained by just saying, "Oh, I will never do this. I will never try to one up anybody ever in my life." That is not how you obtain peace. It's through experience of hardship, experience of joy, and balancing those things out over time. That seemed like the theme amongst quite a few historical heroes, a sort of warrior poet. Yep, a lot, a lot. Shout outs even in today's time. Let's wrap this into 2021. Charlemagne. Charlemagne the God. I watch his podcast. He started out, my mom actually met him back in the past because he used to do radio shows and she was a bartender, clubber, and stuff back in the past. They ran across, and she said he was a complete asshole back in the past. And that's how he started his Breakfast Club and stuff like that. He gained a lot of notoriety from like being the asshole out of the three on the Breakfast Club, and he got famous off of that. Like, got a lot of views and a lot of attention off of that. And now that he older, if you watch his podcast and stuff, he changed a lot, and he talk about him changing and the way he look at women and the way that he look at life. Period. Wrote books and stuff like that. He really have experience and change, and now it's people saying the cancel culture and stuff, saying, "Hey, you did all that stuff in the past, and now you trying to come up here and present yourself in another way. If you was doing that during these times, you would have got canceled. Like you wouldn't have been able to make all the money and be who you are now." But really, he was just always being who he was, and now he's still being who he is. And that's the journey. That's the journey of all of us being the warrior. Story plays out. So now when he do certain things and he pick at things, we can see now it's still gonna have that potency. Still gonna know how to chop a nigga head off like the samurai was and stuff. But and always it's not total not the total story. Now he can make peace well instead of just disruption and causing people angry and stuff like that. You know how he knows the ways of the peacemaker. Yeah, yeah. I was thinking about his name, how it's actually Charlemagne the God, and he was saying how people They actually know and stuff. They actually don't like that. That's his name. It was also about the ones that could hold that could universally or the universe, verse both good and bad. Verse good and bad. Yes, you will. Ones that rose above seeing see going above that paradox of good and bad and just being situational. Being situational, but being so much too in the situation that you making decisions based off of how you want to keep your heart rate to not be pacing all day. You know, when you're on the move and doing things that you know you shouldn't be doing, and then you get into that seat of knowing what you probably should do instead of it knocking on your head. You're like, hey, yeah, okay. Yeah, man. Even Pearson, psychologist, talks about this thing being dangerous but disciplined at the same time. Yeah, shout out to Jordan Peterson. I've been talking about this before him, but he's a cool guy because I know he talked to a lot of college students and stuff like that. So his vocal range, his voice is heard a lot. But it is a lot of discipline, and it comes with that warrior type personality, not just from being soft but from learning to be soft. Because some people, I was listening to this comedian, watch the Just Laugh Now show. The Just Laugh Now show. Watch the Just Laugh Now show. In that show, I had it. I had this clip of this comedian talking about how he wanted to be angry. Cause I trained all my life to be angry. I want to be this like hard person, like come off like with a little earth to me. But then the second once I started doing mushrooms, that kind of became impossible. So it kind of became hard to be that person. He said, I said, somebody come to me with all this fucked up problems and stuff. And he's like, oh, yeah, I accept you for all your flaws and and shortcomings. Instead of, man, I don't feel like hanging around you. Or, man, why the fuck you say that? But then growing up in that, you start still. That's why I love comedic behavior. You start still keeping yourself because you're still here and things still going to seem like they're rubbing you the wrong way. You still keep things disciplined. You still say, hey, this is how I want to see things right now, and like for the time being, or this is how I want things to feel when I'm in that situation. And it's still you still feelings still change all the time. The control factor kind of out the window. But you make do with what you have. Make do, and you find you make do with what you have. Whether you trying to find the joy or the bad, so that you can transform joy or transform the situation. Sometimes you look for the little rain, had some sun. And then sometimes you like, all right, let's get the sun out, get some sun. And to call upon fear is a wild journey, but we do it all the time. I be tying on. Ooh, I needed that a long time ago. Tying on why mushrooms be talking to me. We be saying how like the the stuff going around me. Why it's so chaotic, or like why is the person that I'm with like um always like in that mood? I don't even know a word to put on it right now. In that mood, and making me feel like I'm always on some type of adventure or something like that. And it's like, yeah, that's what you want. The adventure. Like this is the part of the rain and get things going. Get things going. Transform. The warrior start wars, but the peacemakers make peace. The warrior fights to keep fighting. The peacemaker fights to end fighting for others. Both are skilled in the ways of battle. All the way. You just had me thank you well of and Sasuke when the spoiler when the I say the darkness creature, I don't know what it was attacking the building, and one of the warrior guys, he wanted to just bring out his chi and do what he do, like go out and fight. He wanted to go to warriors and fight it. And the other one said, and the other guy who temple that they were in wanted to meditate and get all his warriors together because they wanted to create a barrier around it. And the guy was like, that wall is not going to hold that beast from fighting. Like, we need to go and fight now. Like, come on. And but then it actually worked. And he was like, I will show you our ways. And he was like showing it. And it was working. It was working all the way. And then after a while he said we just need to give them enough time in the other room they was in. We just gotta hold them back. And then once he saw that was not working, the other guy jumped in with his skills and talent. He's like, all right, I honor what you're doing. I see you got one strong wall. Like they put made sure he said that line. Like, I see your walls are very strong. And then after a while he joined in with him. He said, now let me go in with you. And he joined in their astral protection field, but then changed transformed their astral protection field like this giant mega warrior, mecha warrior that was able to like do the do. It was awesome. It was awesome. And then they both learned from each other at the end of the day. They both was able to respect each other's ultimate gift and ability, and how it's both needed for the situation at hand, depending on what the battle calling for. uh, let me see black. Yeah, I don't know how to spell it. So y'all can see the show I was got entered from. This is him right here. The artistry in this movie, all in the show was awesome too. I call it a movie because I just watched all of it back to back in one day. There's like colored pencil artwork in the background, and this is how he looked in the children's book version of him a long time ago. This his tale was told a lot in Japanese lore already, and this to keep the story alive. Then it's a bunch of different artist interpretations throughout time. It was pretty cool. Samurais, ways of thinking. Because martial arts is nothing but training of the mind. That's why everybody you see is in martial arts have a certain discipline in their way of thinking about how their attitude about life, how they encounter certain feelings when they come at them. They got a certain move, a certain forces that's literally beyond fighting people, but the forces that's coming at you in everyday life that you control in everyday life. Yeah, yeah, that's enough about that. I don't gotta go far into there. So don't be scared to talk. Don't be scared to talk. Don't be scared to talk. Got something to say at times, or if you got something to draw at times, if you got an art piece that going to shake up things, if you put it this way, shake up things that like that. That's your warrior right there. Warrior ain't always just fighting. It's warrior and how we interacting with reality. Linking the mind to the body and spirit to they merge in one. Yeah, link that body and mind. Link it, get all the results in. Cause like fighting, like get them fighting, like fighting yourself. Sometimes you want to fight yourself. Sometimes that's good training. That's sometimes the best training. Look at all the people that fight themselves and what they get when they get out of it. All the lessons they learn. Or get into that hyperbolic time chamber, or get into no, that just slowed down time. But get into the fusion. I don't know, some kind of chamber that just splits yourself, and just get into that training. Like, oh, that's how I hit the mic. Test test. Yeah, get into the ring. Say like, oh, that's how I move. That's how I dip. Oh, that's how I act in this situation. Okay, all right. And the more you get into that ring like that, and psychedelics help with that, helped me with that, and realizing and being truthful and tideful in the situations really get real like that. Do that. The final boss is always yourself. It is. It is. Final boss is always yourself. It's just hard for me to make up stuff. That's why mushrooms are so magnificent. Experience that I've had with them. Because to most people on a certain vibration, I'm making up everything I'm saying. But yet I experienced it. Like when you said the true ball, the final boss, the first thing that popped in my head was when literally on mushrooms I saw myself as a one man band. I was like, yeah, I had all the weapons. I was like, all the so called weapons, controlling like the sound and stuff like that. But the visualization of is that I thought I didn't have control over any of that. Then in the final boss, ho, 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 ha, 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 ha. But that's only like of this realm and of what's going on here. Like that's still just a reason representation of what's going on in one of the realms. But but still, that was a cool final boss because it was towards the what I can remember towards. Then it went to another game because the game is never over. There is no final boss. I'm thinking of the hand in Mario. Yeah, that's another story. Or in shows and stuff in traumatizing situations and they looking in the mirror and they peel back their skin. I'm going through all this crap. And they still see them or look at themselves in the mirror. All these metaphors, all these cliches. If you could just think about one cliche all day, you'd be okay. Cliche a day and you'd be okay. On top. Yeah, yeah. Having fun. Cause going once you start once I always say once I start. But seeing everything just and living out just been awesome. And being able to see why things not why things, but just see how how am I putting it? Samplers. Samplers. A DJ. Don't you know a DJ samples music that had all of this life put into it. And they're still living out a life. People that disrespect DJs, man, they just don't know the picture. Or they're just living out that reason path that just has to exist like that. But they don't know the reason. They not really with it, how I say. And when they and samplers, they like multi-dimensional travelers, like DJs and stuff. And then they pick something from this time, this from this time, from here, put it in a song with a little reverb, change it around and put that knob. Like it's awesome when you can see yourself doing that with your life. Like, oh, this is where I got that from. Oh, this is where this from. Let me change that around. Let me do this, or I want to have fun with this, and this is how I want to present it now. And even when don't matter if it's trauma, don't matter if it's a good situation, like oh, it's finding you, yeah, finding yourself, realizing and flowing with, it, and letting it create the next picture instead of logically trying to continue based off of just what you see around you, or just based off of whatever is going on. Cause a lot of us grew up in some traumatizing shit, some traumatizing situations, some ways that don't, or I'll say ways that don't allow us to see ourselves as the creator, but a lot of ways that allow ourselves to see ourselves as just a consumer, as just somebody that's caught up in it. That's what I mean by traumatized. Somebody that's just caught up in it, just caught up in it. We all caught up in it, but we're not just caught up in it. You find that you find the name has control. Let's go and beyond candid name. It's not just as you. Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's not from the past. Like the multi-dimensional aspect is not just the past. Thanks you for putting that out there. It's not just the past. It's from the future and everything. That's why a lot of celebrities that y'all be getting into be saying they come from other planets. Be saying they come from the future and stuff. Say, oh, this music is so futuristic. How did they come up with this? And then it lasts for times like 80 music. Like 80s music still sounds like it's from the future. Even though we create new music that sound like it's from the future. I got some check out the sync is real. I got some stuff in the that's already out there. But yeah, it's pulling from different realms and when you let it flow, you let it go. Pulling from different times. Yeah, man, I think that's what Sykes help with. It says D oh hey D him yeah man, I think that's what Sykes help with. Yourself in the same way you see potential in others and it gives you hope that you can make it. Yeah, I love that factor. I love that factor. Being able to see the hope when I see other people, I'll be breaking down. I break down tears a lot from those kind of situations. I get all the tingles in my bodies. And I'm like, yo, this is it. Like, this is the moment. We came this far. That type of vibe. Then go do it. You can pull from future streams many times. Others might not be ready, so you can show them. Mm-hmm. It pop up. It was on pop up. I got a lot of things. A lot of things tied that's in the tie sphere. That if y'all go back, y'all see was already in the future. Already in the future. I don't exist in time. I just talk in terms of time so that y'all could listen to me. And I guess in ways I be caring about views and stuff like that. So I want to promote the business and keep it going so that it can sustain certain things. But yeah, and I'm outside of time. That's why I was saying before earlier, it's hard for me sometimes to tie on things in this podcast in chronological order. And why I like just having, I just call it a conversation. Sometimes I get lost in my mind. Sometimes I'm in my heart. Sometimes I'm in my gut. And it's all just combined, just swirlpool. That's why people confused with psychedelics. The time skips and time jumps. Most people don't jump into that. I remember you mentioned this before, you well. Stay away from psychs because they can't handle the time jumps and the time skips, stuff like that. But when I'm in those spaces, or I'm always in that space, but when I say I'm in those spaces, because I'm saying that I do the psychedelic substance and meditation stuff. I'm in the. It feels like I'm supposed to be doing that. Like that's what I'm supposed to be doing, and that's why now during the day and stuff, no telling how many times things change. There's no telling how things happen, because I used to confuse myself. Time traveler sometimes you confuse yourself. You get the woos from the like jet lag, like jet. This is it's dimensional jet interdimensional jet lag, time jet lag. Sometimes that come with forgetting, anesthesia. I mean amnesia, which is like anesthesia. Might as well be knocked out, living another life in another world. But yeah, yeah. And that all comes with the reasons, man. Once you get out of the reasons, you get out of time. It's a reason to be time. It's a get out of time. Reason. Reason for the LOL. Just tie in time experience. Rhymes. The rhymes of your rhymes. It's just the telling of the times. Telling of the time. Uh, yeah. And that's why I love connecting with a lot of other people that have experienced these experiences. And these experience these magnificent time traveling woe journeys. Because most of the time, we leave breadcrumbs. A lot of people leave breadcrumbs just in movies and art. You never see a face. Most people will use pseudonyms. What is it? Synonym? No, the thing when you use a fake name when you write a book and stuff like that. A lot of people those when they write books and put their ideas down. Like just tie on this. A lot of the animators for the movies that have changed your life, that have opened your mind to the new ideas, and even had you living out new ideas. How they look? How they look? What they do with their life? You don't know nothing about that. All you know is that they made that somebody, a team of people, made a big picture, and that's how they wanted to look most time. Like we're the mind made, because that's what they are, the mind. Like Tomation Studios got people at work, got things at work that we can't see. Disney, but you feel it, Disney got a team of people. Pixar got a team of people. And a lot of other animation studios that's popping up. Corridor. Yeah, just do things and put the art out there. The art out there, and that's who they are. That's them carrying out the essence, time, doing the great work, as alchemists will call it. But I remember being waking up and seeing what the great work was, and saying, "Oh, people they have the great work that they do before they die." When I was reading the alchemical text, Alistair Crowley and stuff like that, and everybody's ultimate goal is to have communication with your holy guardian angel, which I didn't found out. Um, it's just more Jewish mysticism terms, and because a lot of things will have you thinking you're not talking to just yourself. And it does come in ways where you can put it in terms of a fairy or terms of things that don't even have language terms like I like to do sometimes. And but I see it as a play. And but really it's you. But because we grew up in these terms, we gotta say, hey, it's an angel, or hey, it's a demon, even if we like the demon that's talking to us. Oh yeah, I like that demon when it talks. But why are we even calling it a demon? Why are we calling it an angel? Why are we calling it anything? And I like to say it's a whisper. It's a, it's a whisper in the wind. Or a psychedelic experience. I love the artistry how they say it. That's why it captivates the mind even more when people hear psychedelic experience and say, "Oh, it was God, it was Krishna, it was Jehovah, it was Jesus, it was Jesus, um Mardi Gras," and it was all of those. So then when you talk about it to other people, that's now is a new sense of captivation because it's something so big, something so big to get you out of whatever you was just thinking about. Like, oh wow, I'm not thinking about whatever I was thinking about. That's what's going on to get you on this new plane, elevated plane of thinking, of observing and stuff like that. But it's wild when it shows you. Like the voices told me to kill him. It's the you beyond the form that is out of time and space. Yes, you will. Yeah, it's the you that is out, that is beyond the form, that is out of time and space. Like that's something y'all hear me tie. Listen, listen, listen without your logic, but listen with your logic only so that you can remember what I said. That Ty said it first. Like, I ain't say it first, but Ty said it. But listen, listen, listen. It's an art. It's art. I'm not just. I'm not. We're not just talking. We not just talking. You ever get into third person talk with yourself? We start doing that. You'll see a lot of magic pop up because you you tying with yourself and not allowing yourself to see yourself just in the situation, beyond the situation, and not so getting into a hyper ecstatic that all of that is you right now here. Like, oh, I'm the walking God. Like, I'm just gonna stomp on everybody. I'm God. Yeah. But but like you get into that zone. Twisted terms twisted into different meanings as they pass round in the cycles of time. And they play out as different beings. Play out as whole beings, because that's how powerful we are. As soon as we think we something, we that. We that. We that for sure. Yeah, the you. The you. What is you backward? Ooh. Ooh. But like though, just ooh, it's a feeling. That's actually a Wiz Khalifa song. What's the lyrics to this? Why don't I know this one? Hmm? Oh, he has a song. Yeah, he has a song called Ooh, but it's you backwards. I never heard this song. I'm trying to see if the lyrics have anything to do with what we're tying on right now. You know how to sync magic work. I ain't trying to hear about all them other niggas. I just wanna come over and have yep. Let's go. We're all alone. I don't see no. I want nobody know. Okay, I get it with. But yeah, yeah, they even get from there. I said, be who you are, be you, even backwards. Whatever is supposed to come out, that's you. That's you. Like, why is you telling me? Why would I tell myself to do these? Test. In the end, yeah, the wrap up. I'm gonna get off of this soon. Get some like that. But yeah, to wrap it up. Wrap it up. Yeah, wrap it up. Yeah, to wrap it up, just have some fun. Have fun with life. We're gonna be back live again. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up right now. I'm gonna have some. I had some fun during this podcast. Hopefully, y'all got something out of this. Y'all did. Hey, thank you. Let me know. Share it, like it if you did. A lot more things is coming forward with the channel, or is already continuing. And with life, artwork. I finished the video yesterday, painting in VR. I'm gonna draw a mushroom a day or something like that. In VR on paper or some kind of medium, editing it down and actually making a combination of it, the virtual camera going on in there so I can move around in the space, make some cool things going on, and create a story behind the action behind this piece. So that should be out tomorrow or late today. Tomorrow late. And besides all of that, have a wonderful day, wonderful night, all those times, whatever time is coming at y'all. Enjoy this energy. I mean, thanks for enjoying this energy, being a part in this atmosphere. Your mind start running. Sometimes you surfing. Sometimes just put the board out there, see what mind is always going to always gotta be on it. Cause I know I talk fast, I think fast, and then I say because this just brought it to me before. Who I used to, I was the, I got all the highest test scores in all the classes I was in, but I would move so fast that I would get things wrong just because I didn't read it right. They said the teacher said, "I know you know this answer. I'm gonna let you switch it up." but that's not a 4, that's a 10. I mean, that's an 8 or something like that. I would literally just look over it. My mind was somewhere else. But and that's just, I would say about us. We all know what's going on. Just stay true to yourself. May come off a little loony at times, but once you got the confidence, you'll be painting pictures all day. Peace out.